Egyptian opposition has always been fragmented and fractured, basically because of the pressures of the political regime. But now the political regime is in a weak position, so the opposition is going to gain the momentum. But in order to gain a better momentum, they have to sort of, make a coalition, to make an alliance. Al-Baradei could be the cement, the political cement between the Egyptians. But given the tensions, the old tensions, and the different ideological backgrounds of Al-Baradei compared to other political forces such as Al-Ikhwan Muslimin, this kind of cooperation is going also to be put under our own witness, our own search. It's too early to tell what's going to be in tomorrow's Egypt. Let us focus now on today's Egypt.
Okay, well, let's do that. Let's talk a little bit more now to Amani Soliman. He's a Middle East analyst and joins us now live from our London studio. She joins us now live from our London studio. Amani, let's look at the events today. I understand that you're seeing the pictures as we are. Are you shocked by them?
It is quite shocking. There was always the expectation that today's demonstrations were going to get violent, because we know that the Egyptian government had given instructions to the security forces to be quite forceful, if you like, on the protesters. However, the sheer volume of the protesters, again, it is shocking. It was initially when it happened on the 25th, and again today it is shocking because there were lots of calls from all sides in Cairo for these protests to be peaceful, to be respectful, for the protesters, from figures from the government or close to the government, that they were calling for calm. They were, yes, we are allowing you out on the streets, make your point, send us your message, but stay calm. But of course, looking between the words, if you like, it was quite clear that it was going to get pretty violent. So again, not at this scale. To see the tanks on the streets of central Cairo is alarming. This is a very, very alarming sign.
We're getting reports from down in Alexandria that police forces have indeed withdrawn from most of the streets and that the protesters are now in control. Did the government, did Hosni Mubarak just didn't see this coming, didn't see the scale of people's anger?
I don't think anyone in the government could have predicted that this was ever going to come so big and so shocking. They knew it was going to happen, but again, I think they underestimated the power of the people. They underestimated the anger of the people. There were many signs in the last few years, and anyone observing the Egyptian political scene would have known that there is a lot of anger under the surface. In fact, when the events in neighboring Tunisia took place, many government officials were very quick to say, we are not Tunisia, this will never happen in Cairo. However, we can't exclude or ignore the effect from Tunisia. Regarding the events that happened in Alexandria, there was one shot that I'm sure everybody saw when events unfolded in Tunisia, where the member of the security is shaking hands with civilians, with protesters. And at one point they hug and the people kiss them because they quickly change sides. But this is not happening in Egypt. It's not, because the regime in Cairo is strongly supported by all the security forces operating in Cairo, by the Ministry of the Interior, and indeed by the army. So what we saw in Cairo, the army tanks, is a desperate action. This is something that the regime resorts to only when desperate.
Indeed.
In Alexandria,
Indeed, no signs of reconciliation on the streets of Cairo. Just want to just point out the live pictures we're seeing again on from downtown Cairo. October 6th bridge, scene of many clashes between protesters and police. And there we were seeing pictures of a security vehicle actually on fire, appeared to then be retreating. Certainly no signs of reconciliation between the two sides there on the streets. There were some isolated incidences from our correspondent in Alexandria. She suggested that police who were injured were actually helped by protesters. Do you think there is a slight seed for that to happen here?
This is a glimmer of hope on the streets of Alexandria. If this happens, then we may see it happening elsewhere. This is a glimmer of hope that the security forces might realize that actually we're on the wrong side here. Maybe we should be with the people. We are from the people. These protesters are their families and neighbors and friends and colleagues and so on. So that is a very good sign, of course, because some of the chants that were going on in the demonstrations this morning were all about the relationship between the civilians and the security forces. However, there's no love lost between civilians in Egypt and the police. Anyone, again, observing will know that there has always been a lot of tension, and in fact, this movement on the streets today in Egypt, some of it is called, it's named under the name of Khaled, who's the 20-year-old who was killed by the security forces.
Yeah. Amani, I'm just going to interrupt there because we're getting some news breaking again out of Cairo, and we're trying to keep on top of every new line. So let's cross over to our correspondent there, Ayman Mohyeldin. Ayman, what have you got to tell us?
Well, you can see, Laura, the fighting is actually happening right in front of our office. What you're seeing there are the riot police making their way towards the bridge. They're pushing back the protesters. There are about 2 or 3 dozen riot police. And what